know how to quit.
Every time you told your body, one more, I got one more rep, one more mile, come on, don't quit. I know my body been keeping receipts. You can take cover from the wind and prepare for a hurricane, but you can't take cover from fear. Because I've been asking this body to perform, to go farther, to move faster, to be stronger, to lose weight, gain muscle, push through it. I've been telling it, don't quit, get back up. What's the secret? There's some people out there that will let you carry the weight, not because they can't, because they know you will. Oh, I got something on my mind, man. It's been weighing heavy on me. Something I've been thinking about. And I don't think this conversation belongs to any particular age, because it can happen when you're 20, it can happen when you're 40, hell, when you're 70. At some point, we develop a relationship with our body. And I don't mean whether or not you like the way you look in the mirror. I'm talking about what we demand from it, what we ask and what we expect from it. And maybe more importantly, why? Why do we care so much about how we look and feel, about the performance of our bodies? What is it that makes me get up in the morning and say, I'm not going to hit the snooze button. I'm up. I'm going to go. I got motivation to think, to move, to speak, to keep on going. I've already accomplished so many things in life. What's the point in moving forward? So this question been spinning around, man. I've been asking myself, why, man? Why? Why do I keep doing what I'm doing, man? I'm hurting all over my body. I put a lot of miles on it. I've abused it in so many ways for years. Why do I do that? How come for so many years I've been asking this body to perform, to go farther, to move faster, to be stronger, to lose weight, gain muscle, push through it? I've been telling it, don't quit, get back up, keep moving, don't fall out. And for a long time, all that made perfect sense to me. And sometimes it still does, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with discipline. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be better and to perform and to improve daily. Nothing wrong with looking in the mirror saying, I can do better. What's next? But I've started to think about the transaction that lurks and hides beneath all of that. Because every time I've been asking this body for something, eventually it asks for something back. It asks for recovery. It asks for time. It asks for rest, nutrition, and sometimes medical care. Go to the doctor. Get checked out, man. Figure out what's going on. It hurts. What is that going on? I don't know. Sometimes my body just wants to go walk on the grass barefooted and check out the beach and listen to the wind blow and hear silence and take it all in. And I still can't figure it out. It's been tough, man. It's been hard to balance and figure out when is taking care of your body turned into punishing it. When does telling yourself I can go farther turn into I have to go farther? And who made that rule? Was it you? Was it somebody else? Was it society? Was it what you see in the mirror? Was it what somebody told you 20 years ago? Was it the way people treated you when you looked a certain way, good or bad? Was it your profession? Was it something that somebody said 20 years ago that you're still trying to prove wrong? Or maybe was it something that somebody said 20 years ago that you're trying to prove right on a daily basis? I know this old man. I'm going to tell you, my great uncle, Uncle Johnny Lopez. Oh, he's a legend. Today, I believe he's 91, maybe 90, 91. I may be wrong. Somebody's going to get mad at me for that one. I believe he's 91. But anyway, these days when we go somewhere with him, somebody's always telling him where to sit. Somebody's always telling him how to eat. Somebody's always walking him and escorting him around and making sure that he's good, holding his hand, walking him to the car, making sure he can sit down properly, ensuring that when we go into restaurants or we go to places, we choose the path of least resistance so Uncle Johnny can get to where we need him to go. And the whole family loves this man. Everybody caters to him. Much deserved. But he doesn't demand it. It's almost like as if he accepts it, honors it, respects it, moves with grace, and says, okay, which direction you need me to go? Almost like as if he understands this is what's supposed to happen when you spend a lifetime taking care of people. Eventually, they get the opportunity to take care of you and return the favor. I remember sitting across from him at a restaurant many years ago. Now, at this point, he had already reached the age where people were doing those things. And he was at the other end of the table. All the young men were sitting at the end of the table with me. And on the other end of the table, he was at the head of it. All the women were around him, protecting him, making sure he was okay, making sure his food was in the bites that it needed to be, pretty much monitoring what he was eating. But he didn't care. They were making sure he had everything he needed. And my Uncle Johnny wasn't bothered by any of it. He just kind of sat there, man. and looked around the room, and I was watching him. He didn't know I was watching him, but he's looking around the room and he's just watching people. Not a care in the world, completely calm, just slowly living his life. And I admired that. So I called down to the table. I said, "Hey, Uncle Johnny," across the table. He looked right at me. "What's up, mijo?" I said, "Hey, Uncle Johnny, I got a question for you." At this time, I'm probably late 30s, early 40s. And I told him maybe his answer could help me with something and maybe give some of the younger guys around me something to think about. So I asked him, I said, "Hey, what's the secret?" He didn't even ask me what I meant. He didn't even take a breath. He needed no explanation whatsoever. And he responded with just 2 words: "Don't quit." Oh. That was it. 2 words. And somehow everybody understood. From the youngest guys to me, everybody understood exactly what he meant. Because life definitely gonna take something from you. Cancer, sickness, pain, cold nights, frustration, the grind, that final 100 meters, the last swim, everything you got, gut check. Maybe losing something that you thought you couldn't live without. Or maybe it's nothing dramatic at all. Maybe it's like I said, just waking up in the morning and decide not to hit the snooze button. Don't quit. So now I'm wondering, what is it inside us that tells the body, get up, even though the mind is saying, that's enough? Where does that voice come from? Who taught it to us? Is it learned, earned? Are you born with it? Does it come from trauma? Does it come from success and failures? What does it come from? Or is it just God telling us, you got shit to do? And when does don't quit actually mean either keep going or take care of yourself well enough so you can keep going tomorrow? Maybe don't quit doesn't always mean push harder. Maybe sometimes it means learning how to keep the engine running. For most of my life, I understood how to expose myself to the elements, to the cold, to the rain, to the heat, underwater, underweight, going the distance, exhaustion. I deliberately put myself there. I trained there. I adapted there. Something that once made you uncomfortable doesn't have that same authority over you anymore. That's resilience. But resilience has a cost. Every mile, every rep, every cold morning, every injury, every time you told your body, one more, I got one more rep, one more mile, come on, don't quit. I know my body been keeping receipts though. And lately I've been having to check the receipts and see what's on there, paying close attention to my health and picking and choosing my battles and what I want this body to be able to do and how to perform. Today I look at this body almost like an old classic automobile. And you know you ain't supposed to treat the old classic like the work truck. Common sense. You don't leave it outside no matter what the weather is anymore just because you know it'll start. You know this thing's gonna go. Nowadays you put it in the garage, temperature controlled. Winter comes, you prepare it for the cold. Summer comes, you prepare it for the heat. You maintain it and protect it. But when the conditions are right, you open that garage, turn that engine over, take that old classic out into the sunshine. But not because it can't survive bad weather, because it doesn't have to anymore. I've already driven this thing through enough storms. I'm trying to preserve it so I can use it for the things that I still love to do. But here's what's interesting. I'll be completely transparent with you. Taking care of this classic requires me to still voluntarily do uncomfortable things. I just turned 46. Right before my 46th birthday, nobody ordered me to do it. I volunteered to go get a colonoscopy, TMI. And for a lot of men, even the thought of that procedure is uncomfortable. Shit, trust me, I was scared to death. But a lot of my people that already paved the way ahead of me said I was making the right decision. And sure enough, they found one small little polyp. They removed it, and I walked away with something incredibly valuable, man. Information, a peace of mind, awareness. It made me think differently about consumption awareness, what I'm putting into this engine and what I'm asking it to process. And psychologically, to be honest with you, it felt like somebody gave me a clean slate, man. So now what? What am I going to do with that? Because as far as I know, maintenance doesn't mean waiting for something to break. Proper maintenance is being willing to open the hood while the engine is still running. But there was once a time in my life when protecting the classic wasn't the mission. The mission was finding how much I could push it, how much it could take, how fast it could go, how far it would go, how much I could withstand and sustain. I was about 31 years old, staff sergeant. I'd been in the Army for about 8 years, infantryman. I had a couple deployments to Iraq. I'd been a drill sergeant, and I knew for a fact that my next assignment was going to take me to Afghanistan. And at the time, I had nothing to prove to nobody. I felt like I had accomplished so much already at my age, but I had something to prove to myself. I had spent 8 years mastering the basics, and I had spent the last 3 years as a drill sergeant teaching the basics. And it had me insecure, and I'd wondered if I had been away from the operational environment for too long. I didn't feel like I still understood tactics at the level that I needed to. Could I still lead when I was tired, when everybody was tired, hungry, cold, angry, lonely, afraid? Because you can hide from the rain. You can take cover from the wind and prepare for a hurricane, but you can't take cover from fear. When you jump down in the hole and try to protect yourself, guess what comes with you? Fear does. Fear gets in the hole with you. You can't run from it. Fear's right alongside of you while you're trying to hide from the elements. And I needed to know that when I jumped in that hole and fear was down there with me, was I still somebody worth listening to? So I volunteered. U.S. Army Ranger School. Request approved. Uh-oh. Point of no return. Ain't no looking back now, baby. I had about 60 days to get ready. I had nobody to train me. So I trained myself. I studied. I asked questions. I watched everything I could that had to do with U.S. Army Ranger School. I read everything I could, every manual. I put my nose in it. And then I got even crazy enough to try to recreate pieces of the environment. I stayed awake for days, fasted, didn't eat, tried to see if I could stay up, tried to see how long I could go without food, without water. Who does that? And why? I loaded myself down with weight on my back. I walked for miles with brand new boots and no socks just so I could blister my feet up because I wanted them hardened and calloused before I got there. During physical training, I added weight, whether it was a vest or it was gear or it was boots instead of sneakers. I added extra time to every training before or after everybody else was finished. In the evening time, in the morning time, I put myself through hell. And then I trained something else, something that was unorthodox, that people didn't really pay a lot of attention to. They thought, oh, I just throw on this ruck and run and just run and run and run. And the more I run, the easier this is going to be. I trained breathing, heart rate control, concentration, thought prioritization, when to spend energy and when to conserve it. I wasn't just trying to make myself suffer. I was trying to learn how to remain capable inside of suffering. Then the day came. I arrived at Ranger School. 400 men out there. Some of them looked chiseled, fast, confident, strong. And then there was some other ones that had fear in their eyes. They stood out more than the others did. And I just blended right in, exactly how I like it. I wasn't worried at all. I had prepared myself and got myself ready. But on the inside, I was doubting myself. I started to compare. These guys look faster. They look smarter. They look like they've been preparing for a long time. Only had 60 days. I wasn't worried, I was ready. But a little voice inside of me was doubting myself. I looked around and I said, man, these guys look faster. They look stronger. They look like they've been preparing for a long time. I'm a city boy, man. I come from the streets. I ain't grow up hunting and fishing and doing all that stuff. I'm about to spend 62 days in the woods surviving and learning tactics and being on patrols. One thing I did know I was ready for was anything that they had to throw at me. And that's when I realized the real test wasn't going to be whether or not my body could survive Ranger School. The real test was going to be whether I believed that I belonged there. So they line 400 of us up and they start to assign companies. We're in one big, huge formation. So a Ranger instructor on the far right of the formation is pointing and having everybody sound off. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, all the way down. And before I arrived, everybody had been telling me who've been to Ranger School, don't get Bravo Company, man. That's the brutal company. Those Ranger instructors in BCO are a pack of wolves. So everything told me, now, okay, all right, don't worry about it. Then I look and it's coming my way. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. The instructor gets closer. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. Alpha. And then I'm next. Bravo. Grab my bags and run to Bravo Company. And at the time, I just kind of smiled, man, and just thought to myself, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's cold out here. It's winter time. And let me go throw myself to the wolves. Really ain't got no choice. And as soon as I lined up in Bravo Company, that's where it all started. Cold, hunger, fatigue, patrol, decisions, pressure, breathing, thinking, controlling my decisions, controlling my reactions. One obstacle, one event, one day at a time. And then prior to that, when I was sitting there waiting for the formation to start, I'd taken my hat off. And I was thinking to myself, how am I going to get through this, man? So I pull out my marker and I write under the bill, "Don't quit, Ranger," just so I could see it every time I look up. As I knew what was coming, and it sure did come. Every day I wanted to quit, and every day I look up at those words. Don't quit, Ranger. North Georgia in the wintertime, up in the mountains, freezing, lying in the patrol base, pulling security for hours, laying perfectly still, below freezing temperatures, cold, wet, malnutrition, sleep deprived, cold running through your entire body, fingers split at the tips because all the blood is running from your extremities trying to keep your organs warm. The extreme pain just from having to tie your boots with your fingers, and 30 pounds eventually disappearing from my body like magic. But everybody was hurt. Everybody was hungry. Everybody was cold. Everybody was tired. Everybody wanted to quit. Not one man in that formation were so good that they never thought about quitting. And yet still I doubted myself. I still didn't know if I was good enough until about 50 days later. I'm in Florida. Now we've already transitioned into spring a little bit, and Florida is a little warmer, but it's still chilly outside. And we had completed all our patrols and we were preparing for our return to Fort Benning, where we were going to graduate. And everybody had this feeling of accomplishment, but nobody really thought they had finished the fight yet. I'm sitting there cleaning my weapon, and 7 of our roster numbers are called up, and I'm one of them. So they brought us up to headquarters. I'm looking around, man. Anytime my name gets called, I'm thinking I'm in trouble. Maybe I failed something. Maybe something happened that I didn't know about. But then when I looked to my left and my right, every man standing around me was exceptional. Something wasn't adding up. So they marched us into this conference room, and the battalion commander and the battalion sergeant major and the XO were sitting there, and we stood in front of them. And the battalion commander said, "Congratulations, gentlemen. True blue. No failed events. No probation. No blade running. We had made it through clean." As much as we wanted to celebrate, we all just smiled, put our chin up with pride, executed a left face, and got up out of there. We all walked back, sat down, went back to cleaning our weapons and preparing for movement back to Fort Benning. And then, my guys around me, Ranger buddies around me, were asking me, "Hey, man, what happened, man?" And the little proud guy inside of me wanted to say so bad, "Man, I smoked this thing." But that wasn't what really happened. I didn't do it alone, because there were men around me that did uncomfortable things when I needed them so I could succeed on patrol. And when it was their turn, I did the same for them. Sometimes don't quit isn't something that you just tell yourself. Sometimes it's what the person beside you has made possible. So eventually I graduated about 30 pounds lighter, about as skinny as I was when I was 16, 17 years old. Here I am, 31 years old, about 180 pounds. Maybe. And then I went back to my unit, and I was different. Not because people looked at me differently. That shit didn't matter. I looked at me differently. I had evidence. I had data. Evidence of what I could withstand. Evidence of how I could think under pressure. Evidence of how far I could go. Evidence of what my body and my mind and my soul could take and withstand. And that confidence I had followed me around. Most of the time it was good, but sometimes it was not so good. People took me the wrong way, mostly because I was trusted with more responsibility. And others would ask, why? Oh, it's just because he got that Ranger tab. But I felt good and confident because people trusted me with more. But here's what I'm beginning to understand now. That test served a purpose, and I don't need to keep retaking it. I don't need to destroy and continue to beat up this classic today to prove what it survived yesterday. The evidence is already there. The responsibility is just different. Now the responsibility is to preserve it, maintain it, keep challenging it, keep exposing it to enough discomfort that it remains capable. But to understand the difference between building resilience and spending something that you don't need to spend anymore. Because making excellence a habit ain't doing what I did when I was 31 forever, for the rest of my life. Now, making excellence a habit has a different definition. It's about having just enough awareness to recognize when the mission changes and having the fucking discipline to change with it. So now I have to ask myself a harder question. Why do I maintain the engine? Why preserve the classic? Why keep training? Why keep getting up before the sun rises? Why should I keep doing uncomfortable things when I've already proven that I can do it? Who am I doing it for? Even more importantly, why am I doing it for them? Is it because somebody we love can't carry the weight? Because that's different. Sometimes people need help. Sometimes people get sick. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody loses their way. Or life puts more weight on a person than they're actually capable of carrying themselves. I'm not saying I got nothing left in the tank. I got plenty left in the tank. So yeah, I'll carry the other side. I'll help you. Because that's what we do. We take care of each other. But what about when somebody can carry the weight? They just won't. They refuse to. That's different. What happens when you spend all these years training your mind and your body and making it resilient and learning how to operate under stress, only to become the person that everybody hands their weight to? It don't work like that. There's some people out there that will let you carry the weight, not because they can't, because they know you will. And that's a dangerous transaction, because when you're capable and you're dependable and you're that one person that everybody knows won't quit, they study you and they learn that about you. And sometimes, man, so do you start believing it. Because I can carry it, that means I should carry it. Their burden, their stress, their problems, their consequences, their responsibilities, their resistance, things they've ignored, things they've avoided, the things they're simply unwilling to do themselves. Nah, man, that ain't how it works. I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes you don't even realize it. You start spending the weight of your body and your mind and your spirit in places to fill gaps that were never yours to fill. So where do we draw the line? I don't know. I ain't figured that out yet. Still working on it. But I am starting to understand something. Capability does not automatically create an obligation. And just because I can carry something doesn't mean it belongs on my back. And part of taking care of this old classic means becoming more selective about what I load into it. Because there's only so much room, so much fuel, so many miles that it can go before it eventually starts to break down. And I don't want to waste all my fuel and my miles and my space carrying weight that somebody else was supposed to learn how to carry. Then that raises another question. I know I got a lot of them. If I'm not maintaining myself to carry weight for everybody else, then what am I doing it for? Maybe the answer is simple. Maybe I just want enough life in me, enough energy, enough clarity, enough patience to simply answer the phone. That's it. When somebody calls me that I love and says, hey man, you got a minute? When my children need advice, when my wife needs me beside her, or a friend needs somebody who won't bullshit them. And hopefully one day, someday, somebody younger sits across the table from me, the same way I sat across from that old man, Uncle Johnny Lopez, and asked the question, what's the secret? And I'm there to answer it. Maybe that's enough reason to take care of myself. Not because I'm afraid of dying, or because I'm trying to stay young, and not because I need to prove that this old engine can outrun the new ones. I've already proved it. I've already done it. I've already tested it. I know what it can do. So now I just want to keep it running long enough to make it useful. And maybe that's what I've been trying to understand this whole conversation I've been having with you guys. At 31 years old, I walked into Ranger School and I had those words written under the bill of my hat. Don't quit, Ranger. Nobody knew they were there. Every time my body hurt, every time I was cold, every time I missed home, every time my mind started negotiating, every time some part of me wondered if I'd had enough, I'd look up and I'd see those words, don't quit, Ranger. And then years later, I'm sitting across the table from my Uncle Johnny, a man around the table that everybody loves, a man who spent a lifetime giving all of himself to everybody. And now when somebody opens his door, holds his hand, helps him with his food, he doesn't demand it. He just accepts it with grace. And when I asked him, Uncle Johnny, what's the secret? He didn't even think about it. He didn't ask what it meant or give me a speech. He just gave me them 2 words. Don't quit. Funny how that works. I heard that somewhere before. I've seen it. But I definitely think I understand those 2 words a lot differently now. At 31, don't quit meant keep going. Finish the patrol. Carry the weight. Get through the cold. Get through the hunger. Get through tomorrow. Today, it means something else. It means go to the doctor. Get checked, eat differently, recover, sleep, rest, train, know when to push, know when to stop. Most importantly, know what weight belongs to you and what weight doesn't. Take care of the engine. Put the classic in the garage when the storm comes. And when the sun comes out, drive it, enjoy it, use it, pull up, Be there for the people you love. And maybe, if you're fortunate enough, one day you'll be sitting across that table, moving a little slower, listening while everybody tells us what we should and what we shouldn't eat, and watching the room, seeing the people that we love around us, living their lives, enjoying themselves. And maybe somebody from the younger generation will yell across the table at you and say, "Hey, what's the secret?" I think I know what I'll tell them. Don't quit. Damon Alexander Fonsalluskowski. Out of here.
2 words. Don't quit. And add another one. Don't ever quit.